Yeah, that's the size of the ore body that's going to be pulled out from underground.
You're telling me that this mountain that we're looking at is the volume of stuff they want to pull out of
That's
Oak
what
Flat.
they're going to pull out.
A lot can happen when your town realizes that it's sitting on top of billions of dollars. I'm from a place like that, West Virginia. Abundant in natural riches, but somehow one of the poorest states in the country. That's the story of so many towns across America. But I came to Arizona because I'm pretty sure the next big part of that story is happening here. The town of Superior is home to one of the largest copper deposits in the world. Copper's everywhere. It's in your phone, it's in your car, and it's also, we're told, an essential ingredient for the transition to green energy. But the copper here isn't being mined, at least not yet. A decades-long fight between a rural Arizona community and the biggest mining companies in the world has reached a boiling point.
We don't want our church to be destroyed, just like Catholics have their Vatican. If there was copper ore under the Vatican, they wouldn't want to destroy the Vatican.
And years of corruption.
That was probably the dirtiest piece of legislation I've seen.
Have divided the community.
People of Superior, we're ready to have these jobs.
You know, they promise the jobs are going to last for 40 years. That ain't going to happen.
You've heard that before.
Oh, I've heard it twice.
This story is about a lot more than copper. It's about who gets to decide the future of a place when a ton of money is discovered a little over a mile underground.
We're not going to stop. No federal policy, no federal law is going to get me off this land.
It has all the chrome, see? And 66 doesn't have all this chrome.
The whole thing is chromed out, Abby.
Yeah,
This is what the kids like to call a whip.
Yeah. There you go. A whip. I come from 5 generations of mining. My grandfather, my father, myself, my son, and my grandson. Mining's been in Superior's blood since the get-go.
When was it really thriving?
Thriving, I would have to say, between the 60s and the 80s. That was a good time here in Superior.
We had grocery stores, we had jewelry store, and we had anything that you wanted, we had it here.
Yeah.
And then the mine closed and boom and bust.
In 1982, after 70 years of operation, the Magma copper mine in Superior shut down. When that happened, half the town's residents left.
I seen grown men cry because we didn't know it was going to come down. What are these guys going to do? They've never experienced it. You know, this was the only occupation they had, you know?
Yeah. Henry eventually went to work at another mine in San Manuel. He was there for just 3 years before that mine shut down too. It's a familiar story for anybody who lives along Arizona's copper corridor.
You've been to Globe, Miami. You've seen Superior. I don't know if you've been to Kearney or Hayden. All part of the copper corridor, all mines. And yet, do you see what the towns look like?
Pollution, contamination, illness, all that comes into play after the money's gone. That happened here before, and it happened in San Manuel, where I worked at. And that's what we want to prevent.
But when that experience of mining is all that a community knows, it can be hard to imagine anything else, especially when there's still money left in the ground. In 1995, a massive deposit of copper was discovered just outside of Superior, below a parcel of land known as Oak Flat. Less than a decade later, a company called Resolution Copper began developing a plan to extract some 40 billion pounds of copper from the land. That plan would wipe Oak Flat off of the map. But Oak Flat is also home to something else.
I don't want you to sit there and think, oh, wow, the Indians are talking. Oh, wow, they sang. They did their prayers. No, this is for you. This is for us. This is for the Mother Earth.
Wensler Nossi is the former chairman of the San Carlos Apache, a tribe of about 11,000 who largely live on the San Carlos Reservation.
Let's shake our hands first.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wensler.
Wait, we did it the wrong way. This way.
I guess.
Oh, no, wait, it's the other way. How this way? Wait,
How is it like?
This way.
Should we try with the other one? For years, Wensler and his family have been leading a movement to protect Oak Flat. For how many years has this place been significant to your culture?
To my culture, honestly, since time immemorial.
Our language and our songs are all intertwined with the land.
That understanding itself is like a cornerstone to our religion. And that's why Oak Flat is so sacred. When we take things like this away, our people will die with it.
Resolution Copper wouldn't be the first company to destroy sacred Apache land. The history of mining in the region, to the Apache, has always been a history of violence and displacement.
You know, I come from a family before me that lived in hardship for the price of what America is today. We're waking up America to make them realize that you're living in a corporate world and you're destroying everything, and do you want to be a part of that?
The company known as Resolution Copper is actually a joint venture of two foreign companies, BHP and Rio Tinto, the largest mining companies in the world. You don't get that big without breaking a few eggs, or, in this case, poisoning a few towns. But the proposed mine in Arizona would be something of an experiment, a type of mining that's never been attempted at this scale before. What are we looking at here, Henry? Walk us through, if you don't mind.
What we're looking at here is the 3D model. We have the Eiffel Tower dead center there, which is made to scale.
That's the scale.
Yeah, that's at 1,000 feet.
The type of mining Resolution Copper plans to do is called block cave mining.
When you have block cave mining, what you do is you're opening up the earth. A 2-mile wide subsidence hole, 1,000 feet deep.
Aside from the gaping hole, Resolution Copper's proposed project could have serious impacts on the surrounding environment. For starters, more than 90% of the extracted rock will be left over as toxic waste, or tailings. And we're talking about 1.5 billion tons.
These are the tailings right here from the old smelter, that black rock.
Wow. Drive around the area long enough and you'll start to see these mountains of tailings everywhere. Over time, if they're not properly maintained, the toxic sludge can leak into the ground and the water supply.
There's a lot of stuff in there that makes people sick. Arsenic, rare metals, things that cause high cancer rates. In the town of Hayden that we're driving through right now has cancer rates higher than normal.
And all of that waste needs to be transported, which requires a lot of water.
250 billion gallons of water. Arizona right now is in a 23-year drought. The amount of water that this mine will use a day is enough to sustain a city of 160,000 people. That's the city of Tempe, Arizona. We're opposed to this type of mining because it's going to affect our environment, our land, and our water.
All of this raises an important question. How did Resolution Copper get the consent of the community to proceed with this project? The answer is, they didn't need to. You see, Oak Flat used to be protected land. But when the copper deposit was discovered in 1995, Resolution Copper started lobbying Congress to pass different versions of the same bill.
This cozy deal before us today is the same deal we saw before and before and before.
A land swap that would give them full rights to mine the copper under Oak Flat.
Man, if we have a future at all, we got to say no to this bill.
All of those bills failed, due in large part to concerns about the impact of the mine. But in 2014, something unexpected happened.
Good morning, everybody.
At the last minute, the land swap was slipped into an 1,100-page must-pass bill to fund the U.S. military. It was added by Senator John McCain, who had taken campaign contributions from Resolution Copper, and by Senator Jeff Flake, who was once a lobbyist for Rio Tinto.
You'll notice that communist people, they're not millionaires when they go in, but they're millionaires when they come out. Why are you going to listen to people like us when you've got, Resolution Copper, who is handing out money to make the legislation go in their direction?
The land swap ultimately passed, buried in between funding for missile defense programs and space activities. And it laid out a simple process for handing over the keys to Oak Flat. A federal environmental impact statement would need to be created, and within 60 days of that happening, no matter what the statement said, Oak Flat would be free to be mined.
The land exchange was very much a long time coming. People of Superior, we're ready to have these jobs. This is an arranged marriage. The ore body isn't going anywhere. Copper mining isn't going anywhere. We have to learn to get along. We're connected whether we want to be or not.
Today, Resolution Copper's influence can be seen everywhere you look in Superior. The company's invested millions here, funding festivals, health centers, and scholarships.
They've always taken care of all of the schools, always donating backpacks. The other day, the mine was handing out $50 gift certificates to the people from the food bank to go down to the Save Money Market and buy groceries.
Right.
You know, that's awesome. This mine has helped us 100%.
Resolution Copper promises that the mine will employ 1,500 workers directly when the mine's up and running. But those jobs probably won't look like the jobs that built Superior. One of the cost-saving benefits of block cave mining is that it's done mostly by robots. Robots that can be operated from hundreds of miles away by a remote workforce. But even if some of those jobs are given to locals, there's no guarantee that they'll last.
They promise the jobs are going to last for 40 years. That ain't going to happen.
You've heard that before.
Oh, I've heard it twice. We've heard that here prior to the mine shutting down in '82. Don't worry about it, General Manager. This mine will never shut down. You have a job here. You're all going to retire here. Poof, they shut it down. In Salmon Well, they did the same thing to us.
The San Manuel mine was also owned by BHP, the parent company of Resolution Copper. When it shut down, 30 years worth of copper was left in the ground. All of those promises about jobs and long-term security evaporated when the company discovered other more profitable opportunities elsewhere.
I think they all go to the same school of bullshit.
Yeah.
You make a lot of promises and you just sprinkle a little money here, a little money there, backpacks for the kids here and pencils.
All of this is a facade. But when you go down deep in there, you're going to see the ugliness that we're going to be left with. Once the damage is done, they never look back.
It was an Apache fight, and it became a Native American fight, it became a state fight, it became a country fight. Now it's a world fight because it comes to survival, sustainability, really what gives us life.
In 2021, Wensler and Apache Stronghold sued the federal government over the controversial land swap, arguing that the deal had violated their constitutional right to practice their religion. The lawsuit will probably make its way to the Supreme Court.
We have 64 churches who are joining us in the Supreme Court, because once we go to Supreme Court, now everybody can join the fight.
There's also a bill proposed by Congressman Raul Grijalva and Bernie Sanders that would repeal the land swap entirely. But for now, Oak Flat is in legal limbo and Superior is at a crossroads.
You know, it's so hard. This town doesn't look that different from my own. And I found it's really hard to make people believe that something other than the thing that made it great is going to bring it back.
There's a lot of pride in places like this. Mining towns from Arizona to West Virginia dug up the raw materials that built this country.
2, 1, fire.
But today, they're some of the poorest, most polluted places in America. We're told that the copper here is essential to fueling a new, more sustainable economy. But if my time here has taught me anything, it's that building wind turbines and solar panels won't be enough to solve the most basic problem we face: deciding who that economy will be for.
These companies say, oh, it's an Apache fight, it's a Native fight, has nothing to do with you. The people in these towns suffer from cancer, from no economy. They are the ones who are left behind. And I think people have to realize that because we are all the dust underneath the carpet when it comes to mining and corporations.
Hi, thanks for watching our video. If you like this story and you want more stories like this, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel to get more Perfect Union in your feed. And if you have stories that you want us to investigate, drop them in the comments below.